Hi, what's up, guys? This is Chimino Podcast, and we're here to talk about Cobra Kai Season 3, No Mercy. You got me, David the Smash fan.
Smash Tech Guy.
Where am I now?
You're Japorion. Japorion.
You're a humble guest.
No,
It's been a while.
Are exalted.
he's exalted. He's advanced to no longer guest. He's a regular.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, so
My fancy stress guy too.
okay, so we're excited to talk about Cobra Kai Season 3. It came out on January 1st on Netflix. And wow. Just wow, so many things happened. So I wanted to start off actually with this because we actually had different predictions about this show that we didn't talk about, on a video. But I wanted to ask you, what predictions that you had were right or completely wrong?
Well, I know that me and you had a big prediction with Allie that since she had like a doctorate degree and all this, we thought she might come back as a surgeon. That didn't happen. She didn't help Miguel at all.
You know what's funny?
I think that was yours, right, David? Our biggest
got
one.
that particular part. Because I was also having that particular prediction, but as soon as I saw Miguel getting into the operation, I thought that the doctor was going to be Ali, so I was like, I have to freak out.
Yeah, right. Like they might find a way to bring her in somehow.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest one for a lot of people because they kind of cliffhang that in season 2 a little bit, where Johnny threw his phone into the sand and left the car keys, But I thought that would have been a big entrance for her, but instead we got more of like a cameo episode.
But one of the biggest predictions was. Oh, go ahead, Japora.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay,
yeah, you
fine.
go ahead.
So in my particular case, I knew that people from the second movie were gonna come, like Kumiko. I saw that particular thing coming in. I don't know if she was gonna come.
Oh, wait! You predicted? You predicted that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I knew, I heard some rumors that they're recording something in Japan, but then again, I don't know if that was actually Japan, or if that was just
like Hawaii or something.
Yeah, Hawaii.
Yeah, no kidding,
but
right?
I kind of saw that particular comment. I was looking forward to that, and it did happen in a different way that I was expecting, though. But
yeah, my prediction.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I said my only prediction was I thought Miguel was gonna be. I thought he was always gonna walk again, but I thought that wouldn't happen until the end of the season. Like that would be like the big thing. That was my
prediction as well.
Yeah.
Exact same. I thought that was gonna be the big moment is when he walked again. At the very end. So that is not where the story was going at all in this. It was a big part of the show, but for him to start walking mid-half, that was beautiful. I don't know about you guys, but I was clapping out loud when he finally walked. When he's yelling at Johnny, and then he's just it's like, Miguel, what? And he's like, look, and he's just like, oh! He started flipping out. It's so beautiful. It's so well done. And I think that was probably some of my favorite parts. Actually, no, that's probably my favorite part of the whole season was Johnny and Miguel's growth and him being a sensei to help him walk. I think that whole storyline in the show was probably the best. For my opinion, that was my favorite part of the whole show, was that journey, that story of getting Miguel to walk again. It was so beautifully done.
Well, let's kind of segue into that.
Johnny and social media.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy that.
Let's segue into Miguel, because I want to talk about certain characters for maybe a few minutes each, because they each deserve it. So let's talk about Miguel. So obviously Miguel at the end of season 2 fell off, was kicked off by Robbie, and he landed on his back, and he was in a coma. And in the show we saw that he was in a coma for 2 weeks. So
and did you see how many times they had to show how many times he fell? I was getting pissed. Stop showing it. Stop.
So let's talk about Miguel's his journey, because he was rightfully bitter with Johnny. Miguel was, because he's like, you told me to show mercy, you told me to do this, and look what happened. It landed me in the hospital in a coma for 2 weeks. You talked about how the beautiful thing about this whole story that Miguel had was that that Johnny never gave up on him. And I think one of the coolest things and hardest things to see was how this whole event that happened to him, how he tried to basically go from 0 to 100 in karate, and he just couldn't. That was hard to watch, because he had when Johnny starts the eagle fang, karate dojo, and they try to kick the
Eagles don't have fangs,
Yeah.
David.
That was the dumbest name. With the eagle fangs.
I don't know.
But yeah, but Miguel, like, how did you feel his entire story? Did you feel like it was a good one? Did you feel like it was too quick? Like, kind of want to know your thoughts on him and his like road to being paralyzed to his final fight at the end at the Russo's house.
I mean, Paul, you'll probably reflect and agree with a lot of this, I'm sure, but how do I say this? It was the best part of the show for me, right? Was him recovering, but I didn't like that right when he starts walking, you have him like not be able to kick in one scene, and then the next scene he's just like kicking ass doing karate all of a sudden. That kind of bugged me a little bit, like it was kind of too quick. Like when that Asian guy, the bully, I can't remember the name of the kid, but he was a bully in the first one. When he was beating him up, I was getting pissed just because of the fact, like, hey asshole, like what the. He just barely recovered from like to walk from surgery, and you're literally kicking the shit out of the kid. Like, I don't care who your parent is. I'm gonna backhand your bitch ass. Like that pissed me off.
They didn't have. Everybody from Cobra Kai did not have any mercy whatsoever, especially when Dimitri got his arm broken into as well too.
Oh, when
like,
Hawks did that, yeah.
The whole season that Cobra Kai, it actually shows how evil they can be, how corrupted they are because of.
Well, I can't say. Let's not say evil though. It's manipulated, right? They're being manipulated.
Okay,
by
manipulated. I think it's a better word. Yeah, because Chris is the one who's.
Because Johnny acted the same way, if you think, when he was younger. But then obviously he got older, he knew. But like on some parts, right? Like I like that court case with Johnny when they're like, what do they say? What's a swirly? And he's like, oh, it's when you dump a kid in the toilet and flush it. It's actually hilarious. It's like, what the hell, man?
He was keeping it real.
Anyway, yeah.
Going back to Miguel though, it seems like it's a nice story arc because at the beginning he's like really friendly. He's trying to get everything to be trying to defend himself. Second season, he's turned into the dark side, but at the end, he kind of sees the light. Season 3, well, after what happens, he kind of trying to open his perspective again and open his eyes that, of course, Cobra Kai is not doing the right thing. And then his transition from where he was to the point of meeting with the LaRussos, hanging out with them, trying to bond with them. It sounds like this guy has been through a lot, but he's changing for good at this particular moment.
Paul, you just saying that when I think about what you just said, Miguel's story and his kind of arc and growth kind of is really mirrored to Johnny's in each season.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to think about.
Because you could see in the beginning of season 1 how he became Johnny, like how he was in Karate Kid, and now you see when he saw that, he's like, crap, like I've messed up. I gotta change Miguel. Miguel can't go down this way. To the point where he lost Sam, and now he's back with Sam, and everything's all working out for Miguel. So I thought that was great. Again, I think I agree with both of you. Like the fighting was cool. Like when he actually got to beat up the bully again, but it's like he couldn't put any weight or any force before that, and it was just kind of it felt kind of a little bit forced. Like he had to do it for the story to progress, to get that win against the bully. But I kind of wish that someone else would have come and helped him at least to show that he's still recovering. He can't go from 0 to 100. That's the kind of my only my concern or my grip with that.
I want to ask you guys something. Just what your guys' thoughts when you're watching that final battle, right? And they're all fighting. Just when like the good guys were kind of getting to the point where, kind of winning. Was anybody besides me thinking that Robbie was going to show up and it's going to be like, oh shit?
I thought Robbie was going to show up.
Robbie. No, not me.
You didn't think Robbie was going to show up, Paul?
No, because I think he's still in the way Robbie in this particular season. Of course, he joins Cobra Kai, but he's still on the fence. He wouldn't do anything to hurt Sam. That particular.
But at the very end of the finale, he was kind of like full on training with Kree, so that's kind of why I thought.
Okay, so at the finale itself, I completely agree. But before that, I don't think he will do anything to the point of messing up with, because I think he still likes her, even though he's still angry about this. I don't think he'll get to that particular point. But
he wanted to beat the shit up of Miguel, though, if you remember.
Well, he saw them together at Miyagi-Do.
And he was ready to fight and beat up Miguel. I remember he pushed him, and then Sam had to step in between him and say no.
See, but the thing about Robbie is that he was evil or dark at the very beginning. Being with the LaRussos, light.
Yeah.
Right, but he was able to redeem himself at that particular point. But then after LaRusso betrays him, he's still angry. He still respects him to that particular point, but he wants to dissociate himself from. So I think to a particular point, he wants to take his revenge, but not to that point that the Cobra Kids did, to go into the house and breaking into all the stuff and kicking
here's my thing. I don't know how they did not get the cops involved. This is breaking and entering. This is like big stuff. Yeah. All those kids should be arrested. And yet, they're like, let's settle this with a tournament. No! Get those kids out of here! They arrest them.
I mean, they're old enough to get into juvie just like Robbie did.
Yeah. Tori should have gone back. Cause this is breaking her parole or her whatever it is that she's on.
You're right. So, you know, I mean, I don't know about you guys. Let me just ask real quick. Who's your guys' favorite of the kids? Who's your favorites? Who's your favorite? Sorry.
I'll probably say Miguel. Yeah.
I love Miguel, but
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I love Miguel. This season though, at the very end it was Hawks.
Okay, so yeah, mine's always been Miguel since the beginning. Robbie was always a really close second. The only thing is I didn't like him this season. I almost felt that they didn't know what to do with his character or how to write him. I felt he was more a subplot for Johnny and Daniel, but like when his scenes were actually in the scene, it just kind of felt a little tacked on. He felt more of a scene for Daniel's struggles or for Johnny's struggles. Like when Johnny came in, it was about him trying to get redemption for his group with his son. His son wants nothing to do with him now. Or Daniel, screwed up and didn't do what Miyagi would have done, and he came to help him as well. And he tells him to piss off every time. And the only time you really get to see him is him just fighting in juvie, and then the very end scene with Kreese. Like I just. Which was just disappointing for me because Robbie has always been like I said, like the second favorite character of the whole show and of the kids at least. And I was really looking forward to him this season, and I did not feel justified with such a huge favorite of mine. But it doesn't mean he's going to be a big part of 4, I'm sure. It's just
I think
3 just don't didn't know what to do with him. Because 1 and 2 he's huge. I mean,
because I was going to say
very huge.
Yeah. Compare like Robbie with Hawks, you get to see a lot of Hawks changing. You get to see the reason as to why he's doubting himself being in Cobra Kai.
Did you guys kind of feel the switch was a little weird though, or too quick, or did you guys not mind it at the end?
What switch?
I think I didn't mind it for Hawks.
I think Hawks has had an issue. Hawks had this internal struggle already in the beginning of season 3 because and he's kind of was going back and forth about this. I mean, he was always like showing up up front. That's what I felt. He was showing up up front like, I have to be the leader. I have to be this. But you could see that he was kind of wondering like, what is Kreese talking about? Like, why is he getting these guys coming into Cobra Kai? Why are they taking my friend's place?
Yeah, especially bringing the bully. I think the bully is the thing that got to him. Well, not also that. Like when he heard Dimitri, I think
he knew it was wrong, right?
He knew it was wrong. And then when he saw the bully coming into Cobra Kai and
to break his hand again, it's like, all right, not the same mistake again, right? You know what's funny? That whole scene when he starts running at him, I was literally thinking of that whole Ben Solo clip that somebody edited, I Need a Hero. They start playing the theme music. I was literally thinking of that with Hawk. Yeah, he's all running to the Han Solo shoot. I was thinking that whole scene with Hawk when he starts running to do the kick on the kid. I was like, this is funny.
You know what?
Actually, when you hear the Hawk song.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ow! Yeah, I was watching it with Paul. You hear when
the kick.
It was so funny.
I think that part was the highlight of the whole season, at least to me.
Did you guys notice any Easter eggs, by the way?
There were a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what you noticed? I was curious.
Okay, so let's see.
Okay, there were a lot of. I don't know if you want to talk about obvious ones because there are obvious ones. I actually like.
Some people might not seem obvious. What'd you get? What'd you see?
When Ali meets LaRusso, I keep forgetting his name. I don't know why.
Daniel.
Daniel Pop?
When he meets Daniel. Okay, when he meets Daniel.
Wow.
Come
on, Pop.
Anyway, it's been a while. But anyways, when he meets Daniel,
It's like 4 years ago.
it's Daniel with an L. I know, but the way that she said it, she repeats the same quote that Daniel said at the very beginning on Karate Kid 1.
What was it?
My name is Daniel with an L.
Oh,
That's what he
see, I
says
didn't
in
notice
the
that.
first, yeah.
I rewatched 2
with
and
that,
3, not 1, before I started the season. I didn't catch that. That's a good
that
one.
was. I mean, there's a lot more with a lot of similar quotes like that as well too. Also, when Tori comes at the very end, she's wearing like a hoodie with a skeleton in there.
That's the one I noticed,
Mhm.
which references Johnny.
Yep.
And then also they did that with Miguel dressed up as a skeleton as well during the what season was that?
1.
2 or 1?
Season 1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, Tori is wearing the skeleton when she is fighting Sam. I thought that was really cool too. What'd you notice, Dave?
As you said, those are the ones I was thinking of.
Sure.
Yeah, those are the ones. Because there are other obvious ones, like they're like
with Sato. Wait.
with who?
You know when Sato was about to hit Daniel. At the
Oh
very
yeah.
at
And he
the
does a little honk.
honk honk.
Honk. Do you remember in Karate Kid 2?
Are you talking about Chosen?
It's Sato Chosen. Yeah.
Chosen with Sato.
Sato's his uncle.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Chosen. Sorry, Chosen.
I
Yeah.
only know that because I just watched it the other day. That's the only reason I remember. But yeah. You see, that was actually the second favorite part of this whole show, beyond the Miguel and Johnny part, was Okinawa.
Mhm.
Like seeing Kumiko and Chosen show up was just, and Chosen was hilarious, right? Where he's like, Danny's like, "I'll go get my drink." He's like, "No, I get your drink." It's like, what the hell? That was so cool.
I was actually liking the chemistry between Kumiko and Daniel because like I always liked them together, and it's kind of odd, like because I can't remember the exact time frame of when Karate Kid 2 comes out because it's like only a few months after, right after Karate Kid Part 1. It's not too long that he goes to Okinawa, so I was like, I kind of wish they got together because, I mean, he did fight for her like to the death basically, and it's like no one can compare to that, and so it's like that's why she never married anyone. And they had that little moment when they touched each other's hands when grabbing the glass. I'm like, is something happening? And then Chosen comes up.
Bad. I was like, no, but they were good. They behaved.
Yeah.
Good job, Daniel. Good job.
It's gonna turn into a
The
soap.
other thing that was funny kind of cool as well is when Daniel was having some
Yuki, that was her name. Yuki, the little girl.
And yeah, they made Yuki, the little girl, and I think
She turned out
that's the part
fine.
that really got to you, Miles, because you were telling me that a part of that particular episode 5 is the one that got to you, right? But to me, like when I saw her and seeing that, oh man, he saved her when she was little, and now she's returning the favor to help Daniel get his business back. It felt a little bit of emotion in there. So I felt like, man, as long as you do something good, it will come back to you. It was a good lesson to see that. And
That's what Kumiko says, yeah.
Yeah. And
David, did I tell you that, or did I just tell Paul that?
You didn't tell me anything.
Yeah, I was telling Paul, episode 5. That was pretty hard for me. When they're reading the last letter that Miyagi had written to his love, and he mentions, like, he starts reading that, like, after I left and I lost the love of my life, I was able to meet Daniel's son, and that was kind of able to bring me back into life, and he's the treasure and love that I found to be able to continue on. And anyway, I won't get into the whole thing, obviously, but that scene, I actually didn't just cry, bawled. It's kind of embarrassing. I actually had to pause and walk around the house for 10 minutes. It just really reminded me of my dad and my grandpa, and my throat just got sick. Like I was watching and tears were going down. Like, wait, what the hell? And then that was probably the most emotional I've got in cinema in, I don't know, dude, like 15 years. I mean, that was bad, dude. I mean, it hit, and you know my story in my past, and it's tragic, and sorry, I get emotional thinking of it. That was hard to watch. That scene really.
I was gonna say, every time that they bring Mr. Miyagi, like they did in the first season as well, that really got to me. So stuff like that, I think they are trying to be respectful, but also trying to like remember Mr. Miyagi as something really great, which he was. And I think that's something that I think that's the heart of Cobra Kai, that they have new elements, new drama, but they also bring everything back to the basic to how everything started. And how Mr. Miyagi was a big influence on that.
I will say the biggest part that, aside from episode 5, the biggest part that like really like I was like was when Tori's fighting with Sam and Tori hits the picture of Miyagi and it breaks. I was like,
I got pissed.
I was like, come on, Sam, stop dinking around, beat the crap out of this girl. She deserves it. She's here breaking all this stuff.
In that fight, Dave, did the Miyagi scroll get ripped too, or no? I can't remember.
They bumped into it, but they just bumped into it. It was just the picture. Yeah, no.
Okay. I couldn't remember on that part.
Okay, so let's move on to the origin of Cobra Kai, which is Kreese. How did you feel that? Because like this wasn't in the Karate Kid, like the whole thing of strike first, strike hard, no mercy. But this is something that the creators came up with for Kreese and how he started Cobra Kai. How did you like that? The whole backstory of what happened with him when he was before Vietnam, and then what happened in Vietnam with that whole operation going wrong.
I'll let Paul go first. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah, for sure. Like at first, my first impression, I didn't like it. The way that everything was, it looked very fake. Of course, the way that it was recorded or something like that. But as I was able to watch this whole story, it kind of makes sense to have a backstory for Kreese, which is like the bad evil guy in this whole saga or whole story. So I find it to be really interesting on how he became Kreese, how did Cobra Kai exist, and how everything came to place, and how like that particular event also influenced the third movie and also what's going to happen on season 4. So I found that to be well integrated. I think they took a risk, and I think it did pay out to explain who is Kreese and what he's all about.
Okay, Miles?
I agree as Paul. When it first started, I wasn't liking it. Kind of a bias. I just really hate Kreese as a character. So even watch his backstory at the same time. Like it was kind of a weird conflict. Like I'm like, I want to know this. I want to know what happens. But at the same time, like, F this, screw this, get on with the real shit. I don't care about this asshole. Like it was kind of the whole time I'm watching it. Like I want to watch it, but I don't because I hate this character. But it's kind of weird, like with his character, I never really understand Kreese, because even with the backstory, like, unless you guys can answer it for me, I don't get it. What the hell is Kreese trying to get at? What is his main goal? Just to have Cobra Kai win at a tournament, and that's why he's just making kids beat the hell each other up? It just, even with the backstory, what the hell is he trying to achieve? What does he want? It kind of reminds me of like a comic book villain, if that makes sense. But I did like the Vietnam scenes though, and it did help give an idea of why he's the way he is, and I did like that. And I did like at the very end with the concentration camps, and he gets his team out, and then you see what's his name, Silver, come out, and you could tell that's younger Silver, and that added that backstory that we knew in Karate Kid 3, right, where he told him, you know, I'll do anything for you after that one time what you did with me in Vietnam, blah blah blah. And then they actually, because we always knew there's a backstory to that, but they just never got into it because it's Kreese in the movies. It didn't really matter, but with Cobra Kai it does. And so then to add that kind of made sense, like why Silver would help so much, and that also explains why he would also know Cobra Kai karate and to see Kreese's master, and then what happened with his girlfriend. Like, it's all very interesting. At the same time, I hated it because I just hate Kreese so bad as a character. I don't give a shit. But at the same time, I'm glad they did it, I guess, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't bad.
My take on it was I think he learned something in Vietnam, and he wants to pass that to anyone who will listen. And this whole thing is like, life shows no mercy. Life is gonna get you down. And he's like, so that's why you have to be the first one to come in. You have to strike. That's why he has that motto: the strike first, strike hard, no mercy. 'Cause that's what he learned. That's ultimately what he learned in that operation, is that he has to be that way in order to survive. And so I think he saw something in that with Johnny, because of his whole backstory with his stepdad and what was happening with him. He sees that with Tori. That's why he's so like invested in her, because he can see that this philosophy of his will help her as well in his twisted way that he is, and he sees that also with what's his name, Robbie. And so it's weird. So he is definitely evil. Yeah. He's evil, but he has like these like intentions of helping people understand what life really is about. It's kind of weird. It's odd.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of feels like a comic book villain, if that makes sense. Like, you get that he's doing it because it adds drama, but in the real world, like, what are you trying to do, dude? Well, you know, like, you're not making money and ruling an evil empire. Like, what is he doing? Like,
he's trying to send a message. That's what I see. I think he's being affected.
He's the Joker.
He sees everything as a war. You know, you need to make sure we defend our troops and make sure we have revenge. And you know, life is hard, but you have to endure it. And you know, trying to survive from it. I don't know. I think, his backstory was interesting. Not to mention what happened to him and his girlfriend and all the things. That
was pretty tragic.
He was trying to be a good person, but the way that he was being influenced by his commander-in-chief or his general, I don't remember what the title is, but all of that twisting him around to the point of like he doesn't believe in showing mercy because of that reason. He thinks revenge is the only answer to everything, you know.
I really like the drama that he added though for the characters, because I always forget Daniel's wife's name. What's Miss LaRusso's name?
Mrs. LaRusso.
I don't
know. Amanda.
Oh yeah, okay.
Amanda. When she that part when she goes into the Cobra Kai and she's wanting to call the police, whatever, and she just slaps him. That was so great. And then for the one to go to the police thing, should actually put like, you know, a report on him and stuff like that. And like, oh, he's already putting a report on, and you know, you have a restraining order. And she's like, excuse me, I'm what? He's like, yeah, you made it easier. Here's sign. Like that was just good humor. That was so funny how mad she got. But the best part about Kreese this season of his character is not so much backstory, but for once you get Danny and Johnny to team up, and you see the fight of them fighting Kreese. That was the best fight in all of Cobra Kai's seasons, in my opinion. That was phenomenal to see that fight.
Well, let's move on to that. So that's our second to last topic. So let's talk about Johnny, Danny versus Kreese, because this is what people were wanting to get out of season 3, because we've seen Danny and we've seen Johnny fight, all right, because there are all these other misunderstandings, and now it's at the end of season 2 when Kreese took over Cobra Kai and Johnny left. You're like, the only way that they have to go is they have to team up together, and they teased it in the first few episodes, but you can still tell they're like, we can't work together, because they fought each other again when they're freaking auto shop trying to get the car back. And then finally, after like that whole thing with Ali, which was the glue that kind of made them understand, when they finally get to Cobra Kai to get that last fight, was awesome. There's one thing, because you mentioned this, Miles, when you were hearing that song, like you were thinking about I Need a Hero with Hawks running. For whatever reason, when I was watching Johnny fight Kreese and then about to fight Robbie, I don't know why, when I was thinking of Star Wars Duel of the Fates playing, like Obi-Wan versus Anakin. No, I was just thinking like Duel of the Fates. So like, like no, don't do this, Robbie. It's like, oh, you know, I have the high ground type of things. I just kept thinking that. But let's talk about that, because
go. With that, I was gonna say the fight. You can also see to what particular point Kreese was going to go.
Yeah.
To win the fight, and he was willing to be dirty if he needed to. Like that's how he learned back in Vietnam, and that's how he was trying to do. When he grabbed that dagger thing, I was like, he's gonna do something.
The sigh
started to freak out. Oh, whatever that. Anyways. That was the thing that really got to me. Like, something bad is gonna happen. Luckily they were able to team up together and protect each other in that fight. So that was pretty cool.
Here's a question: what do you think Robbie would have thought if Kreese actually did kill Johnny or Danny? Like, do you think that would have changed his thought? Like, be like, well, this guy is crazy.
No. Yeah, but I think he probably would have ran away again. Robbie has his whole character in the last 3 seasons has been nothing but kind of running away from his problems. like if he finds something finally good, he's always kind of conflicting himself if he's always making the right choice. I think it has a lot to do with his parenting and his childhood of never really having an adult figure around. You know, I don't know, as strong as his character is, he's really broken, if that makes sense. I mean, that's one of the things I like about Robbie, though. I mean, that's what I like about his character. He's a very broken character, and his parenting is the number one factor for it.
Yeah, he has an alcoholic mom.
I think he'd run away. You know, I mean, he's definitely the kid that's gonna, like, unless something can change, he's gonna be the typical kid that gets into drugs, goes in jail, does something stupid. I mean, he really is that type of character unless something can change. And he has these people there. Johnny's a little too late. Danny's screwed up, and he's like, well, I know what a shitty father is like, and you're not being any better. Nobody's ever proven it. Then you got this strong character that's just agreeing with all my bad ways and saying all the dark thoughts that I have is right. I mean, he's a really conflicted character. And I mean, that's what makes Robbie great, and I'm glad he got rid of his frickin' douche hair. He looked a lot better this year. But I do love his character so much, and I hope they do more with him next season. But on that note, it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, well, I guess I'll bring that up later for our predictions for season 4. I'm not going to bring that up.
Okay, so
I'll bring it up later.
Let's talk about the last final scenes of this season before we go into predictions. Now, this to me was what I was waiting for the entire time, because you see they talk about the tournament. First of all, they're like, let's tell us about the tournament. I was like, I know that's what they were going for, but the stakes are kind of way higher, you know, than just a tournament. Like, I leave town if you. Yeah, I was like, just a tiny bit, but then you start hearing the song. I think it's called "In the Air Tonight," something like that. And
yeah, it was beautiful. Yes.
And you see, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that song. And you see Danny come out at Miyagi-Do, and you see him looking at all his students, and then you see Miguel come, and he comes with Hawks, and Dimitri, like, they embrace, so they did the little handshake thing, like they're fighting. And then at the very end, you see Johnny come out with his headband, and you see them, they bow to their students, and then they bow to each other. I was like, oh dang. And they're like, now.
They bowed together?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was awesome. It was like literally seeing Naruto and Sasuke do this again.
Yeah.
That's literally what I imagined. It was just like this thing again. Oh, it was so good. But the only thing is like as beautiful a moment this is, when they start season 4, that's gonna be nothing but conflict. No strike first, no defense. You know, it's just gonna be like, you know what's gonna happen. Yeah, there's gonna be so much drama on that.
There's gonna have to be some. I think Danny, when he went to Okinawa, he learned a little bit about. He might be defense, but he knows how to fight offensively, at least to what's the word? Disarm someone. You know, that's why he learned those pressure points things. So it's gonna be interesting how their teaching methods are gonna work together, because they're very different.
They're gonna have to bridge it. But see, that's the best part about the Allie episode. I'm actually glad she wasn't a big part of the season. I mean, in theory, you want her to be, but for the story, how they did it was perfect, because like that was literally the bridge of like all that animosity and all that hatred and past that the two have had, and for her to recognize, no, you're just as strong as he is. Like, that was so beautifully well done. And when she just looks at him, it's like, you know what, you guys are more alike than you probably want to admit. And they're just like, shit. Like, it was so cool to see. But I'm also glad, because I was kind of worried. I didn't want it to turn into the drama, because Johnny's character is grown so much, right? Mm-hmm. And for when he finally starts dating Carmen, right? I mean, whew, she's sexy. But best girl, okay? I did not want Johnny to mess that up with Carmen. Not one bit. I mean, she's a beautiful character. She's very good for Johnny. I mean, she has that Latina, like, she keeps him in check, you know? And he needs that. He really, really needs that. And their growth has been so good and so appropriate the whole show, through all the seasons. So when he finally gets through, I'm like, dude, you jackass, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up over your past. But then what I liked is when Allie was saying that, like, the very end scene when she leaves Johnny, right? And she gave him more advice, is like, yeah, it's great to catch up. It's great to reminisce and remember the past. But The past is a past. We need to worry about our future. So even though it's nice to be in the past, we've got to worry about now. And then that's when she brings up, who's this girl I hear about? And he's like, oh, is that what you talked with Amanda about? And she's like, yeah, and other things, you know. But that was great. I love the chemistry between that. But just for her to tell him that, and then Johnny realizing, like, you know, you are my past. We had a good thing. I'm glad I got to rekindle that. And now I was able to kind of heal that wound there, and I can move forward finally as my life. Right. And Carmen's the one, not Allie. That's just a fun thing in the past. And at the end of the day, that's all it was. And I love that they did that.
I was gonna say it's very therapeutic. No, that's fine. I completely agree with you on that, Miles, because I think it's very therapeutic, especially for Johnny. All the things that he has gone through, all the things that he has clinging to the past. He always talk about Ali. He always dream about speaking with her. He was willing to change and post his whole weird Instagram pictures.
Yes.
Trying to fake who he was, and being able to get to that particular point that she was able to say, "Hey, it was good. Things have changed. You learn from that, move on." I think it's a good healing method for him to become a better person. I think that's gonna influence a lot what he teaches with Daniel to the kids. I think that's gonna be, of course, they're gonna have conflict within each other because different ways of teaching, but at the end they know that they have a common purpose. They know they're pretty much alike. Now they have to work together to, you know, train them to the tournament, for the final tournament.
Yeah, the one thing too with Carmen that I like about Johnny too is he doesn't have to pretend to be anybody. He doesn't have to do the Facebook pictures with her. Johnny's literally Johnny when he's with Carmen. And I think that's the most beautiful growth of his character is just she's been a big part of his character, even though they may not depict it as much in the show. If you think of a lot of analyzed parts of his changes, she's been a big part of every major change of his character through each season. So I just thought it was great, and it was very realistic to real life. And Daniel did get 2 hugs, which was funny.
He had to go double dip.
Okay, it matters like 2, huh? I have 4 to show you at home. Don't worry.
Okay, so let's move on to our final piece. So thoughts and predictions for season 4. Where do you think? Give me one big prediction that you have for season 4, because we could go forever, but I just want one big prediction from each of you.
I think Mike Barnes is going to come back. And obviously Silver is who I think Kreese was calling Silver, and I have a feeling that Silver's going to come back with Barnes, and Barnes might have like a kid or something that's like a thug, just like Mike Barnes was, because you remember what do they call him? The karate bad boy, that asshole from 3. I just have a feeling he's going to come back and have some kind of kid, and it's going to help strengthen Kreese. I think he wants Mike Barnes' kid, and I think he's going to contact Silver to find him. That's my prediction on one of them. Anyway, you guys can do other ones.
I think there's going to be a point in which you're going to see Robbie. I think he's going to be the highlight of next season for sure. I think he's going to go to a particular point that's going to be really hard for him to come back, or maybe something like Hawk experienced during this season. He's going to push himself to a particular point that he's going to reflect, and then he's going to see if he can change from what he did or what he's going to do. I think that's going to happen, I think, but I don't know exactly how. But yeah.
This is a big shot in the dark, but I think that things are going to get resolved right before the tournament. Like there's going to be the big battle, like the big fight. Some climactic fight is going to happen right before the tournament. I don't think they're going to actually get to it, or if it does, it's not going to be the one that is going to be like an actual tournament. Like they're just going to go to see who's the best. But I think like the actual like final like to resolve this whole issue with Cobra Kai and Danny and Johnny is going to happen before the All Valley tournament. I don't know how.
You still think the All Valley will happen though, right?
Yeah, but it's not going to be like what Kreese was talking about, like one of them have to leave. I think what's going to happen is the fight that's going to resolve that's going to happen before that, and the All Valley tournament is going to be just that. They're going to fight to see who's the best.
But you guys do agree that this is going to be the last season, right?
I agree. I think this is the last season.
Yeah, I think it might be the last season. I think they could push it to 5, but I don't know why they would, but they could. I do remember one of the directors mentioning something like they still have a lot of story to tell, and they know where they want it to go and to end. But that's kind of vague. I mean, can they do that in the last season? I don't know.
I mean, they're 10 episodes each season, so I mean, I guess they could stretch things out because we're not getting 12 episodes or 20 episodes a season or something like that. So I guess they could.
And like 30-minute episodes, right? So
they could. I just don't know where they're gonna go if they're putting all the same. Either they don't even get to the tournament because the tournament's what? I think even a year from there. I don't remember. I don't know about how the time frame is, but it's not. I think it's pretty far away. So they might not even get to the tournament and get maybe halfway and something happens. I don't know.
You know, it is kind of weird when you say that. I you know, this is kind of a fun fact about like the whole age is it makes you wonder. Did they say in this season how long from what took place at the school to season 3? How long that was? Did they say?
It must have been a few months because they had just started school in September, and then the last fight was on December 19th. That's what the episode was called. So that was what, 3 months? 4 months?
I guess you got a point. Well, it makes it funny because you think of the I don't remember the name of the kids, but the little Asian kid and the little nerdy blonde-headed kid, they were like this tall, and then this season they're this tall, and it's just funny how like those kids are in their age gap where like they're just on their, you know, they drink chocolate milk and they grow 2 inches, like they're at that age right now.
That's
so
why
it's just gonna be interesting what they're gonna look like in season 4, I guess.
I have to remember when the All Valley tournament was. In the Karate Kid, the first one, it had to have been in the summer or spring. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. Maybe they'll do it like a year from that point. I can't remember. So that way it'll make it more believable what these kids have grown so much. I don't know.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, so the whole thing we know, right, is if Kreese loses, he has to leave town and not do Cobra Kai anymore, right? That's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But if Danny and Johnny lose, what was their...
They didn't get to say we won't lose.
That's it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much they're just fighting on, they'll leave him alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, okay, then, if I had to say for cameos to come up, then I think Silver coming up is an obvious one. And if they're to bring back Mike Barnes, that's the only other thing I can think of. If they want to bring more of like Danny's love life back in the past, I guess they could. What was her name in season 3? Jennifer or some crap? I don't remember her name. The redhead chick. Right? I don't know if they bring her why she'd need to come back. I mean, the alley thing was fantastic.
I think they might.
Kumiko might. I think they might add more drama if Kumiko, for some reason, moves to California. They might do that for like a side thing, like what's going. I don't think it'll happen, but they could do that to create more drama. Not necessarily to pad the season, but just to take a little bit of focus off the kids and on Danny and what in some kind of conflict he could have. Maybe.
I think we'll see Yuki again next season though, because she's in charge of what's it called? Do you know or whatever? The Japanese car dealer that Danny gets the thing. I think Yuki might come back since she's like vice president or whatever.
Of sales or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, she's way up there.
Yeah.
And she kind of owes Daniel his life or her life.
But I was gonna say, regardless of what's gonna happen, is going to be great. This season was amazing. I think they did a good job. I think every season they're stepping up their game. So next season, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna. I don't want to really get my. I don't think I'm gonna be disappointed. I think they're doing a good job. If that were to happen, that would be devastated. But I think they know what they're doing for sure.
I think this was my favorite season. Although, and it's gonna sound weird, although it's not the best season. I think the best season is 1, but as a personal favorite, 3 was my favorite to watch.
Okay.
If that makes sense. What about you guys? What's your favorite season?
Mine was 2.
That was your favorite? Okay. 2 was really good.
I gotta say this season. I think for me 3 was pretty good. Yeah.
They're all really close, right?
Yeah, they're all really good.
They're
doing a good job. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think for the last season is gonna be great. Regardless of what they do. It will
you can tell
really
it's written by people that really love the universe and care. So I think I think with season 3, although it's written, I'm pretty sure they have season 3, season 4. I think they have it all planned out. So I don't think we're gonna see like a huge diversion in like the quality of the writing. Like I'm pretty sure everything seemed like they've had a story and they are continuing it. Like even though they're seasons, they feel so intertwined together that they're hardly even a season. Like you could watch these without knowing the season and they just continue so good. So I think 4 is gonna kick it out of the park personally. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Don't be like Johnny.
Sorry,
Okay?
that was not intended. That was not intended, David. I'm sorry.
I love that part. Just last thing when Miguel falls and Johnny's like, "Don't move." I was just like, "This is so stupid with Johnny."
In the magazine on the fishbowl. I just look it up on my phone, right? It's much hotter on the paper. Stupid.
All right, so let's end it there because again we could talk about it forever, but yeah, let's end it there. We can't wait for season 4. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai season 3, I don't know why you're watching this video. You need to watch it and then watch this video. Check out our podcast that we'll be doing weekly. We're starting to get up again, and like and comment, subscribe, and you'll get more videos from us. So thanks so much for watching. This is David the Smash Fan.
Monster Tech Guy.
And Japorion back from the dead. Alright, or whatever.
Back from the dead.
And this is Chibino Podcast.